You run your Telegram through a proxy, or you are thinking about it, and the whole point is privacy. So here is the question almost nobody actually asks before they hand their traffic to a stranger's server. What can that proxy actually see? Most people land on one of two wrong answers. Either they assume a proxy sees nothing because Telegram is encrypted and encryption means safe, or they assume it sees everything, every message and every chat because it sits in the middle. Both of those are wrong, and the real answer is more useful than either because it tells you exactly what you are trusting the proxy with and what you are not. I run managed Telegram hosting on dedicated hardware here in Singapore, which means I run the actual proxies that other people connect through, so I am not guessing about this from the outside. I am telling you what shows up on my side of the wire and what does not, because I am the operator sitting at the far end of that connection. That is a strange thing to be honest about, since the honest version does not always flatter the person running the proxy. But you cannot make a good decision about who to trust until you know what trusting them actually hands over. So here is what we will walk through. How the encryption in Telegram draws a hard line down the middle of your connection. What a proxy genuinely cannot see, which is the part that surprises people. What it absolutely can see, which is the part that should shape your choice. Why your IP and your timing are the real currency here, not your messages. How this compares to a VPN or a plain SOCKS 5 proxy. And why, once you understand the line, the only question left is who you let stand on the visible side of it. Start with where a proxy sits, because that is the whole story. A proxy is one hop in the middle. Your Telegram app opens a connection to the proxy, and the proxy passes that connection along to Telegram's servers. Everything you send and receive flows through that one machine. That is what makes people nervous, and it is a fair instinct, because a thing that everything flows through is a thing in a powerful position. But sitting in the path and being able to read the path are two different things, and the gap between them is exactly what this video is about. Here is the line. Telegram encrypts the content of your traffic between your app and Telegram's own servers. That encryption is done by the app on your device and undone by Telegram at the other end, and the proxy is neither of those 2 points. It is a relay in between, handing along traffic that was sealed before it arrived and stays sealed after it leaves. The proxy does not hold the keys, because the keys were never its business. So it moves a stream of scrambled bytes from you to Telegram without any way to open them and read what is inside. That means the list of things a proxy cannot see is longer than most people expect. It cannot read your messages. It cannot see the text you type, the photos you send, the files you move, or the replies that come back. It cannot see which contact you are chatting with inside the app, or what you name the group, or what is in your saved messages. All of that lives inside the encrypted stream, and the proxy only ever touches the sealed outside of it. On the content, the proxy is genuinely blind, and that is not marketing. It is just how the encryption is built. Now the other side of the line, and this is the part that matters. The proxy can see your IP address. It has to, because your IP is the return address on every packet you send it. You are literally connecting from somewhere, and the proxy is the thing you are connecting to, so it knows exactly where you came from. This is not a leak or a bug. It is the basic mechanics of a connection. Whoever runs that proxy can see the real address of every person connecting to it and can write that address down if they choose to. Down. It sees when you connect and when you drop off, so it knows roughly when you are awake and online. It sees how much traffic you push and pull, so it can tell a quiet reader from someone moving heavy files all day. It sees how long you stay connected and how often you come back. None of that is the content of your messages, but it is a real pattern, and a pattern watched long enough starts to say things about you that no single message would. The proxy also knows obviously that you are talking to Telegram, because forwarding you to Telegram is its entire job. That sounds trivial, but it is worth saying plainly. Tricks like fake TLS exist to hide the fact that you are using Telegram from a network watcher standing outside the connection, like the Wi-Fi you are on or your internet provider. They do not hide anything from the proxy itself, because the proxy is the inside of the connection, not the outside. To the operator of the box, there is no disguise. You showed up and you are reaching Telegram through them. This is roughly the same deal you get with a VPN or a plain SOCKS 5 proxy, and it is worth being clear that none of them change the rule. A VPN sees your IP and the fact that you are reaching some destination. A SOCKS 5 proxy sees the same. In every case, encrypting the content is the app's job and Telegram's job, not the tunnel's job. The tunnel moves sealed traffic and learns your address and your habits. So do not let anyone sell you a proxy as a thing that hides your messages. Your messages were already hidden. The proxy is about where you appear to be, not about what you say. So put the two sides together and you get the honest picture. Your content is sealed and the proxy cannot open it. But your IP, your timing, and your volume are all visible to whoever runs that machine. And taken together, that is not nothing. It is a record of who connected, from where, when, and how much. A careful operator never keeps that record. A careless or hostile one keeps all of it, and that log is exactly the thing that has value to somebody who wants to know who is behind an account. Herde, di besarian referensi. A proxy still cannot read your Telegram messages, no matter how shady it is, because the encryption does not care about the operator's intentions. But a free proxy run by a stranger can absolutely log your IP and your patterns. And that data is the reason a lot of free proxies exist in the first place. Nobody runs a fleet of free servers out of pure kindness. If you are not paying for the box, your address and your habits are a very plausible answer to how the box gets paid for. So the real lesson is that who runs the proxy matters more than which protocol it speaks. The technology draws a hard, reliable line at your content, and that line holds whether the operator is a saint or a crook. But everything on the metadata side of the line, your IP and your behavior, is not protected by math. It is protected only by the operator choosing not to look and not to keep records. That is not a technical guarantee. It is a trust decision, and you should make it like one on purpose, knowing what you are handing over. What does a trustworthy operator actually look like on this? They do not log your connection data, and they can tell you that plainly. They run the box on hardware they control, rather than reselling space on a machine full of strangers. They put you on an IP that is not shared with an anonymous crowd, so your address is not tangled up with whatever other people are doing, and there is a real name and a real conversation behind it. So if something looks wrong, there is someone to actually ask. Boring, accountable, and answerable is the whole point. And what does the version you should avoid look like? An operator you cannot name, running a box you know nothing about, shared with a crowd you cannot see, no promise about logging because there is nobody there making promises. Your IP pooled with strangers whose behavior you did not sign off on and cannot control. Maybe it is fine, maybe it is quietly writing down every address that connects. The problem is not that you know it is bad. The problem is that you cannot know anything at all. And on the visible side of that line, not knowing is the risk. So here is the simple way to think about picking one. Assume, correctly, that whoever runs the proxy can see your real IP and can watch your online patterns for as long as you use them. Then ask yourself a plain question. Would you hand that same information to this operator directly, in person, if they asked for it? If the answer is yes, because you know who they are and they are accountable, then the proxy is doing its honest job. If the answer is that you have no idea who they are, then you already have your answer and it is not a good one. Let me be clear about scope because it matters. The point of understanding this is to make an informed choice, not to pretend a proxy is a cloak that makes you invisible. A proxy is a clean, stable path to Telegram and a way to control where you appear to connect from. It is not a magic trick that erases you, and anyone selling it that way is not being straight with you. This is about knowing the real shape of what is visible so you can decide who deserves to stand on the visible side, not about hiding from anyone you owe honesty to. So that is the shape of it. Telegram seals your content, so no proxy, honest or not, is reading your messages, but your IP and your usage patterns are plainly visible to whoever runs the box. And that metadata is the real thing you are trusting them with. The protocol protects your words for free. Nothing but the operator's character protects everything else. So stop asking whether a proxy is encrypted, because that question is already answered, and start asking the only question still open, which is who exactly is holding the visible end of your connection. Telegram Vault is managed Telegram hosting on dedicated Singapore hardware, real handsets on real carrier SIMs from Singtel, M1, StarHub, and Vivify. You connect through clean, stable IPs that we run and do not pool with a random crowd, with the visible side of that line held by an actual operator you can talk to, rather than an anonymous free box, quietly logging every address that touches it. If knowing who stands at the far end of your connection matters to you, start at telegramvault.org. Onboarding begins with a real conversation about your setup, not a checkout page, and the code TGYT gets you a discount when you start. If this made you stop and wonder who actually runs the proxy your Telegram is going through right now, then it did its job, and that is worth answering before you send another message through it. Subscribe, because there is a lot more on running Telegram accounts and infrastructure cleanly coming on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.